Welcome to Cpac Now, America Uncanceled. I'm Mercedes Schlapp, and yes, my better half is in the middle of crazy Cpac planning, okay? But remember, Cpac in Dallas, Texas is July 9th through the 11th, and you still can get your tickets. Go to conservative.org. Let me tell you something. The list of speakers, simply remarkable. We'll have former President Donald J. Trump close Cpac on Sunday in the afternoon, so take that into account. But we've also got Governor Kristi Noem, Governor Bill Lee. The list goes on, and I've got to tell you, this is a moment in time for conservatives to come together because we have a duty to save America from the hands of these socialists and radical left that are trying to take away our country. But let's get right to it. We are going to be, actually, our producer, Regina Braxton, had a chance to talk to former Secretary of Homeland Security, Chad Wolf, and we'll be showing you that exclusive interview where he's going to be addressing the border crisis. And we know this has been a hot topic since Kamala Harris. I don't actually think she went to the border. No. Instead, she went to El Paso, Texas. But guess who is going to the border? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Former President Donald J. Trump, along with Governor Greg Abbott. And they really are actually going into the center of it all, going to the Rio Grande Valley, and we'll give you an update following the president's visit. But I want to talk to you about a couple things that are going on. You know, it's been newsy around here in the swamp, but lately, I've got to tell you something. That White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, she's having some real issues at the podium. She's actually blaming Republicans. For what? Yes, for defunding the police. Watch this video.
But part of his announcement is also ensuring there's specific guidance to communities across the country to ensure that they have funding to get more community police around the country. Something that was supported by the American Jobs Plan that was voted into law by Democrats just a couple of months ago. Some might say that the other party was for defunding the police. I'll let others say that, but that's a piece. Go ahead.
I mean, can you believe it? That's right. The Democrats are blaming the Republicans for defunding the police. Let's get this straight. We've got Democrat-run cities that have not only demonized, but have done everything they can to destroy law enforcement. Men and women who are protecting our communities, who are working very closely with so many of our communities, many minority communities, that has been a priority. And so for Jen Psaki to basically say, no, it's the Republicans' fault, I don't know which news channel Jen is watching. Actually, I probably do know which news channel Jen is watching. But they are the ones that have been really advocating for getting rid of immunity for police officers, really not in taking away resources from police officers. And what have you ended up with? Violence, increased violence in these Democrat-run cities. And that's never going to work. We got to back the blue. We got to continue to build strong relationships within the communities. And we need to ensure that our communities are safe. But, you know, that doesn't stop Jen Psaki. She keeps going on and on and on with her own lines. And I have to tell you something. It's been a big disappointment to watch her on the podium, especially when she gets these softball questions from so many of these liberal reporters. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to keep watching. But now let's turn over to the border crisis, something that we've been following for quite some time, something that we're going to keep talking about it, because guess what? The liberal media, they're basically saying Kamala Harris went to the border. She actually didn't. So we check the box and we move on. But this crisis continues. The smugglers are winning. The drug cartels are winning. Night after night after night, more and more illegal immigrants are crossing the border. Why? Because they know that the Biden administration is saying, come on in. They're saying it very indirectly, but they are the ones that are pushing this very weak message as they've gotten rid of the Remain in Mexico policy, which we know the Trump administration put in place. They are allowing for catch and release, and in essence, putting many migrant children in danger. So let's watch this interview with Regina Braxton, our producer, and former Secretary of Homeland Security, Chad Wolf.
So when we talk about border security, we talk about the rule of law and making sure that we enforce law on the border. And that's what we did over the last 4 years in the Trump administration. And what we see with the Biden administration is affirmative decisions and policies that they have taken that tear down that rule of law, that impose no consequence for folks that are coming in to the border, coming across the border illegally. And so that's problematic. They're treating the crisis that we have today as a capacity issue, trying to build more and more facilities to take care of more and more people. If you do that, you're only going to encourage more and more of that illegal behavior. You've got to address the problem, you've got to solve the crisis and not manage the crisis. And that's what we find ourselves today in. So you do a number of things. You impose a consequence for folks that are coming across the border illegally. You make it hard for them to do that. You send them back to their home countries when they don't qualify for asylum. You hold them accountable. What you don't do, what the current administration is doing, is simply letting them into the interior of the country to stay here for years at a time. That's the wrong approach. That's what we'll have to deal with in years from now. You want to make sure that you send the signal that it's okay to come legally, legal pathways to come to the U.S. It's not okay to come illegally. And if you do, you'll be apprehended and you'll be sent back to your home country. When you talk about border security and immigration enforcement, first and foremost, you need to think about the American people first and everyone else second. This administration has flipped that on its head. They're trying to do everything they can to accommodate illegal individuals coming here to the country in waves that we've never seen before. And they're making it easier and easier and giving them more services when they get here. And so you're only encouraging that, you're fueling that. They need to stop doing that. They need to impose a consequence and push these individuals to ports of entry and legal pathways to come here to the U.S. And they just have a different philosophy and a different approach to it. It only took her 90 so days to get to the border, unfortunately. And she's choosing to, right now, she's choosing to go to El Paso, which is about 1,000 miles away from where the actual crisis is down in Brownsville and McAllen, Texas. So she's going to the border. She's going to El Paso, which is a metropolitan city that doesn't have a lot of critics from this administration there. So that's probably why she chose that, but we'll see. We'll see how the visit goes. Look, cybersecurity is a tough one. That's the new battlefield when we talk about adversaries. They don't have the ability to go head-to-head with the U.S. on a military-to-military front. So they're choosing cyberspace to do that. And it's a great equalizer. And so we've got to be more aggressive. We've got to take the gloves off. The federal government's got to get more involved in going after state and non-state actors, using our intelligence community, our defense industry, to go and impose, again, what I call consequences to some of that illegal behavior.
And now for Mercy's moment. So, you're always on Twitter or on social media kind of finding out what's going on, and this really caught my eye. Actress Joan Collins, and if you're not familiar with Joan Collins, she was an actress back in the day, back in the 80s of the show Dynasty. She defends aborting her baby to save her career. She says, it would have, quote, ruined my life. And I tweeted out saying, this is so sad for Joan Collins. The reality is that you can have children and have a successful career. I have to tell you, as a mother of 5 wonderful daughters, it's a blessing every day. And I am so glad that because of the work that I do and the work that my husband does as well, that we are able to share in our successes and our challenges and even our failures with our children. They are our long-lasting legacy. They are the next generation of leaders. And I just find it so sad for Joan Collins, who made that, I think, horrific decision to abort her baby because it would ruin her career. I think children add incredible value, not only to your life, but also makes you remember why you work so hard for what you do every single day. But there is some good news. We found that for the Institute for Family Studies, they came out with an article saying that we're seeing encouraging signs. New data confirms the tide that more children are growing up with a mom and a dad. In fact, we're seeing a rebound in the proportion of black children being raised by their biological fathers as well as their birth mothers. This is really good news. You're talking about 63% in this survey are children that are living with both birth parents. We know that family is the central unit, and we know that it's critical for children to be able to grow up in a stable and loving family environment. And that includes our parents, it includes our grandparents, our aunts and uncles. But this is important to remember that as we see this data, it is actually very good news where two-parent families can help children flourish and help them keep stable, especially during these difficult times that we're going through. And don't forget the countdown to Cpac, Texas. It's happening now, 10 days and counting. You can get your tickets at conservative.org. I can't tell you, this is going to be a great event. It's keeping, I have to say, Matt and I very busy, especially Matt, who's in the middle of Cpac planning. But I got to tell you, it's going to be a fabulous event, and we hope you can join us there. We'll have some of our kids actually working at the event, so it'll be a lot of fun, and they'll be volunteering and helping out as well. So thank you for joining us tonight. Follow this show, and remember to share this with your family and friends. Tell them about Cpac Now America UnCanceled. We want to spread the message and make sure we're giving you the best news analysis out there. And remember to follow us at Cpac, at mschlap, and at Mercedes Schlap. Plus, feel free to send us some feedback, send us photos, let us up on the show. Thanks so much for joining us. God bless.